Cross MediaWorks is a technology company that's helping advertisers, operators, and programmers migrate to addressable. We all know that the TV industry is undergoing an enormous amount of transformation, and with it, the genre of brand advertising that really funds all of our jobs and a thriving ecosystem. So on the advertiser side, we're working with linear TV advertisers and helping them add data and indexing into those buys. We're working with advertisers that have chosen to go addressable and helping them understand the value of data and closing the loop so that they can actually see results from their TV campaigns. And working with MVPDs and programmers and helping them enable their networks and all of their inventory, whether it's addressable or linear television, VOD or other IP-enabled inventory to be able to accept advertising in an addressable format.
And you're new to the company. What is your background?
I am. I'm only here 7 weeks now. So prior to joining Cross MediaWorks and getting involved in the TV revolution, I was a company named Turn, which is in the digital advertising space. It operates a demand-side platform, a data management platform, and an analytics platform. So you can say I've sort of jumped back over the wall from the bleeding edge of advertising back into the here and now of television.
So what prompted your move to go in that direction?
There's something romantic about television. You know, as a marketer, I think everybody, when you grow up and you decide you want to be in advertising, the thing that's in your mind is that 30-second spot, right? That's the art form. That's when everything comes together. And being able to be part of television at a time when it's undergoing this transformation using technology and data is something that's really exciting for me. And I think that for Cross MediaWorks, it's really sitting in a very strategic spot with all of the players. We understand the advertisers, we understand the MVPDs, and we understand the programmers, and we have a relationship. So we're in a really great spot to bring together solutions that benefit the entire ecosystem and make sure everyone sees ROI throughout the entire chain.
So is it fair or accurate to characterize the competition between TV and digital as a war?
It's a funny question. It seems to be a topic a lot, especially as I've jumped back over to the TV side. Those enemies are the fangs. That's what I've heard. And I think what I can say, what I've learned, and maybe it's a bit of my bias as a marketer myself, is all of this, the TV ecosystem as it existed for 60 years and the transformation that's occurring and everything that's happening in digital advertising is in service to a marketer, is in service to a marketer that has an objective that they need to sell their widget. And they want to build a long-term relationship with their customers. And in order to do that, tools need to be used. And in the very, very olden days, it was the town square choir and a megaphone. And today, it's a DMP from a company like Turn, or it's an ad serving stack from a company like Cross MediaWorks. But there shouldn't be a war, right? Like, if you take it back to the customer, you take it back to the marketer wants to define their audiences, they want to define their KPIs, and they want to buy media wherever that media is, wherever that audience is. And so I think the war, the way it's defined, is being looked at wrong, right? Like TV shouldn't be looking at Facebook or Netflix and saying they're stealing our revenue. TV should be looking and saying, what are Facebook and Netflix and Amazon and Google providing that the customer, the marketer needs today, and how can we also provide that and create a thriving ecosystem where there are no boundaries between TV and digital. So I think that's a much more productive way of looking at the challenge ahead. It should be in service to the marketer.
So speaking of the brand marketer, what should their focus be on in 2018?
I believe that all brand marketers need to control and own their own data. And what I mean by that is, if you are a marketer today and you don't have a data-driven definition of all of your audience segments, if you don't have a fundamental competency inside your organization around continuous collection of data and segmentation of data and clustering of data so that you understand the changing needs of your audience, not only as a static picture, but as they move through your buyer journey, you're losing. You're going to lose to those companies who can. And so if you're outsourcing data and you're a marketer, if you're outsourcing those activities and you don't have those core competencies internally, you're ultimately going to fail. And I think with that becomes a responsibility as a marketer because the first dollar flows from the marketer through our ecosystem, the responsibility to get the ecosystem to work together, right? Like if it is in service to finding that audience, advertisers and programmers and content owners and digital tool set builders need to be able to collaborate in service to that audience. And so it's incumbent on the brand marketer to be able to have enough competency and have enough fluidity in talking about these issues that they can put pressure positively on the marketplace to be creative and start working together.
So when you talk about marketers and their own data, is it a question of resources like size? Are the biggest, the P&Gs of the world, are ahead of it, or is it savvy and commitment?
It's a lot. I went to school, and I was probably one of the last classes that went to school for marketing in the classic sense, right? So I was trained on pricing, packaging, and promotion, and I was trained on classically, you drive everybody to TV because TV is sight, sound, and motion. I didn't go to school and get trained on data schemas and why data schemas are important, right? And so there was this gap between when folks like myself graduated in the early 90s and then digital technologies really became proficient, that we saw, we're starting to see some folks come out of school or bring skill sets where there's a gap where marketers don't understand the importance of a data foundation or a technology foundation in their own shop. I think that's changing. We're seeing more classes in more universities teaching from a business sense the importance of R, or how to understand what Hadoop does from a marketer standpoint, or Spark, or why React or Redux, or those things are important from a UX UI standpoint, and how that actually what the implications of that are not only to marketing but to consumer experience and consumer journey, and how that works together. So we're seeing a shift. We've seen it start from the top because that's naturally where the data is. So to your point, that's why we see the P&Gs or the Kraft Foods of the world that have a lot of data. They're able to attract talent from other fields, pure data scientists to come in, because those data scientists want to work on big data, mounds of big data. What I believe we're seeing now is the second generation of folks that want to be marketers and then have acquired the skill set that will make them more proficient in a more data-driven, audience-driven world.